My dear friends, welcome. Breathe with me. Good. Today I want to share something that has taken me 40 years to truly understand, a truth that will change how you move through this world. Look around for a moment. Each one of you is carrying something heavy, aren't you? I can see it. Some of you are gripping so tightly to your plans, your relationships, your idea of who you should be. And that grip, it's exhausting you. Here's what I need you to understand. Most of the pain in your life isn't caused by what's happening to you. It's caused by how tightly you're holding on. You only lose what you cling to. The job you're afraid to lose, the relationship you're trying to control, the identity you're defending, they're draining you because you've made them your survival. But what if letting go wasn't weakness, but wisdom? What if that's when everything falls into place? The illusion of control. Let me ask you something. What if your constant effort to control everything is exactly what's making life so hard? I see this everywhere. People gripping outcomes, gripping people, gripping plans, hoping that if they hold tight enough, life won't fall apart. Does this sound familiar? Yes, I thought so. Here's the paradox. The tighter you hold sand in your hand, the faster it slips through your fingers. Control feels safe, doesn't it? But I'm telling you, after 40 years of practice, it's the ego's most convincing illusion. Control doesn't give you freedom. It gives you fear. Fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of not being enough. How many of you know that fear? Most of us do. In Buddhism, we have this principle called non-attachment. But let me be clear, it doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you allow life to move without chaining it to your expectations. You don't own this moment. You're only here to experience it. Think about your own life. How much energy have you wasted overthinking, micromanaging, clinging to relationships already drifting, worrying about things that haven't happened yet? And did that give you peace? No, it gave you pressure. Now close your eyes for a moment. Imagine that tomorrow for just one day you stop interfering. Instead of over-planning, you simply breathe. You observe. You respond with calm, not control. How does that feel? Can you feel your shoulders dropping? Open your eyes. Ask yourself, what am I afraid will happen if I let go right now? Most of the time the answer isn't danger, it's discomfort. And my friends, discomfort is the doorway to growth. That job you didn't get, maybe it wasn't meant for your path. The relationship that ended, maybe it was a chapter, not the destination. Life is always trying to guide you, but we're too busy resisting to hear it. When you let go, things don't fall apart. They fall into place. Not always where you imagined, but often where you needed. Because surrender isn't weakness. Surrender is wisdom. It's the strength to trust the flow rather than fight the current. Here's a practice. When you feel yourself mentally tightening, jaw clenching, chest tight, stop, breathe. Ask, is this worth the weight I'm carrying? Then loosen your grip. Allow. Trust. A wise monk once told me, peace is not found in a place without noise or trouble. It is found in the midst of those things when the mind is calm. That calm doesn't come from control. It comes from trust. If you want to fly, you need to leave the earth. If you want to move forward, you need to let go of the past dragging you down. The paradox of detachment. Here's something that sounds backward. What if the very thing you're clinging to is holding you back? We live in a world obsessed with outcomes, chasing goals, seeking validation, measuring success. But the more tightly we pull the string, the more we lose altitude. Think about a kite. It doesn't rise by force, it rises when released. This is the paradox. The moment you stop needing something, you start attracting it. I know what you're thinking, but Monk Tenzin, if I let go, won't I lose everything? No. When you're detached, you're not disconnected. You're just no longer imprisoned by your craving for control. In Buddhist thought, attachment is the root of suffering, not because wanting is wrong, but because needing it to define you is where suffering lives. Detachment is freedom. It's acting from clarity, not desperation, from truth, not fear. Think about your own journey. Maybe you've poured everything into a career, relationship, or dream. The more you forced it, the more it slipped away. You obsessed, replayed conversations, reworked plans. But instead of peace, you felt pressure. Why? Because your power doesn't come from the grip, it comes from your presence. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring, it means you stop clinging. You shift from, will this work, to, is this true for me? Here's your practice. Set your intentions clearly, but release the outcome. Show up with sincerity, not expectation. Then step back. Trust that what's meant for you will unfold in its own time. Meditate on impermanence. Watch your thoughts and emotions rise and fall like waves. Nothing stays, not even pain. Ask yourself, am I pushing too hard for something that should unfold naturally? Often, what we force fails. What we allow grows. Remember, the seed doesn't bloom because you scream at it. It blooms when you give it space. Detachment positions you for power, real power that flows from authenticity, not anxiety. How overthinking repels what you want. Let's talk about something destroying people every day, overthinking. You think you're being productive up there in your head, but really, you're just stuck. Overthinking disguises itself as problem solving. It promises clarity but delivers chaos. A pond clears itself when you stop disturbing it. So does your mind. In silence, everything becomes clear. But silence scares us, doesn't it? Stillness feels like failure in our hustle-addicted world. So we obsess, replay, forecast, analyze, convinced one more thought will unlock the answer. But it never does, because overthinking doesn't come from wisdom. It comes from fear. We call it the monkey mind. Restless, jumping, always grabbing, fearing, doubting. True clarity doesn't arise from noise. It arises when the noise fades. Have you noticed? Answers don't come while thinking. They come in the shower, on a walk, when you finally stop trying. Why? Because you created space, and in that space, wisdom rises. We say we want peace, then try to think our way to it. That's the trap. Peace isn't something you chase. It's what's left when you stop chasing. Next time your thoughts spiral, just notice them. Watch them like clouds passing. You don't grab clouds, you watch them drift. Do the same with thoughts. Say to yourself, there's a worried thought. There's an anxious thought about something from 5 years ago that nobody else remembers. Then come back to your breath. One conscious breath brings you back to now. Ask, is this thought helping me, or is it just noise? Most of the time it's noise. Once you recognize that, you can let it go. You're not your thoughts. You're the awareness watching them. Why caring too much backfires? This might be hard to hear, but listen. Caring too much can backfire. I can see some of you pulling back, thinking, aren't we supposed to care? Yes, but there's a difference between caring and over-caring, between love and fear disguised as love. When you care too much, you lose yourself in the result, in trying to please others, in the outcome. That's not love, that's fear. Healthy love grows in freedom and space. When you truly love someone, you give them room to be who they are, not who you need them to be. Ask yourself, am I caring or controlling? Am I loving or fearing? Stop chasing validation. How much of your day is spent thinking about what others think of you? Be honest. How much energy do you burn trying to impress people? Prove your worth? Make sure everyone sees you as smart, successful, worthy. When you constantly seek validation from outside, you give away your power. You hand over your peace, confidence, sense of self to other people's opinions. Your value is not measured by praise. Your worth is not determined by likes, comments, or approval. The moment you stop needing validation from others, you reclaim your inner strength. The urge to impress fades. You begin living true to yourself. Validation turns inward. That is freedom. The whatever happens mindset. Let me teach you something I practice daily. The whatever happens mindset. This doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're not attached to how things unfold. You do your part, show up fully, then release control over the outcome. Whatever happens, happens, and you remain steady. This builds incredible emotional strength. It helps you move through change, setbacks, chaos, with calm. People think indifference is weakness. It's not. It's strength rooted in inner peace. You are not your thoughts. Here's something that might blow your mind. Most thoughts are automatic, firing randomly based on past conditioning, fears, habits, and most aren't even true. When you stop believing every thought, you discover something profound. You're not your thoughts. You're the awareness behind them. This brings emotional space. Space from pain, space from negativity. Letting go of thoughts brings freedom. You don't have to believe the story your mind tells, just notice it and let it pass. Surrender is strength. Surrender isn't weakness. Surrender is accepting what's out of your control. When you do that, you release tension. You allow life to shift in surprising ways. When you flow with life instead of fighting it, you stop creating extra pain. Surrender is hidden strength. Welcome groundlessness. Letting go of certainty and comfort opens the door to real change. Real growth often starts in the uneasy unknown. The moment you stop fearing the unknown, you begin trusting yourself. Groundlessness becomes the path for inner growth. Let each moment guide you. Life happens now, not in your plans, not in your memories, not in worries about tomorrow. Now. When you drop the script and become fully present, clarity returns. Every moment holds wisdom if you slow down and pay attention. Presence is where true alignment begins. Let go of fixing everything. You're not here to save everyone. You're not here to repair every problem. Releasing this weight brings peace. Often, just being present is more powerful than trying to fix things. Your peace is more important than your control. The art of doing less, being more. As we close, one final teaching. Imagine a lotus blooming. It doesn't bloom through frantic effort. It blooms by surrendering to the stillness of the water beneath it. This is the art of doing less and being more. In our world, we're so focused on hustle, success, constant movement, we've forgotten just being is enough. When you release the urge to always prove yourself by doing, you make room for your true self to come forward naturally. Try this. Spend a few minutes each day in quiet. No distractions, no plans. Let the noise in your mind settle like dust sinking in still water. Notice how your body relaxes, how your breathing slows, how your nervous system calms. This isn't laziness. This is a vital practice of coming back to who you are. When you stop doing all the time, you begin to truly be. And from that state of being, right actions come on their own. Ask yourself, what if I stopped pushing and simply trusted who I am? In the quiet, there's nothing to fix, nothing to perform. You no longer carry the burden of pressure, fear, or expectations. Silence reveals a deep truth. You are already enough. When you're not driven by the urge to achieve or control, you begin to notice the peace beneath all the noise. You realize your worth isn't in what you do, but in who you are. The habit of constant doing fades. Presence becomes your strongest state. In this stillness, life begins to move in surprising ways. New paths open, ideas flow, answers show up, not because you chase them, but because you made space. What are you trying to prove that silence hasn't already confirmed? When you release the need to do more, you allow life to come together through your presence. In this letting go, you blossom like a lotus, beautiful, whole, and deeply at peace, bringing it all together. My friends, here's what we've explored today. The illusion of control shows why surrender works. Trying to manage everything brings stress. Life moves smoothly when you stop fighting and let it unfold. Peace comes from letting go, not holding on. The paradox of detachment gives you power by freeing your actions from desperate outcomes. When you stop being emotionally tied to results, you gain peace, focus, and presence. Overthinking pushes away what you want. Letting go of endless thoughts brings inner peace. Clarity comes from quiet awareness, not more thinking. Caring too much backfires when it comes from fear instead of love. Healthy love grows in freedom and space. When you stop chasing validation, you reclaim your inner strength. Your value isn't measured by praise or opinions. The whatever happens mindset builds emotional strength and protects your energy. You are not your thoughts. You're the awareness behind them. Surrender isn't weakness. It's accepting what's out of your control. Welcome groundlessness as the path to growth. Let each moment guide you through presence. Let go of the urge to fix everything. Embrace the art of doing less and being more. You don't gain control by holding tighter. You gain it by letting go of the illusions that weigh you down. Life isn't something to force, chase, or fix. It's something to live with presence, courage, and trust. The moment you stop clinging is the moment real living begins. True strength doesn't come from force, but from surrender. Not the surrender of weakness, but of ego, fear, and the need to control. When you release what you can't control, you begin shaping your inner world with clarity and calm. And slowly the outer world responds. Let go of needing to be liked, to be perfect, to always be right. Instead, root yourself in your truth, your stillness, your deep inner knowing. From that place, right actions come on their own. You don't chase alignment, you become aligned. That's where true success begins. Zen reminds us that bamboo bends with the wind, not because it's weak, but because it's flexible. Be like the bamboo. Bend, flow, let go, and rise stronger, more peaceful, and calm. You were never meant to control the storm. You were meant to find your peace within it. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for listening with open hearts. If this message touched you, please share it with someone who needs it. Share your thoughts and journey. We're all walking this path together. May you find peace in the letting go. May you find strength in the surrender. and may you remember always that you are already enough. Namaste, my friends. Namaste.